This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hi, this is Jim Lee, and you're listening to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast.
Hi, I'm Dan Jurgens, and you're listening to the Batman Universe.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder, and you're listening to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast, episode number 262. I'm your host, Dustin, and today I have with me...
This is Steph.
This is Ian.
And we are bringing you the latest comic news and comic book reviews from the weeks of November 18th through December 1st. We have a small amount of news for some reason, I guess because of the holidays, at least here in the US. People are not being able to find time to leave comments because this is the second episode in a row we have no comments. Huge disappointment, but let's be honest, I don't have a lot of free time either. Our Patreon supporters know that we have fallen behind on our Patreon rewards. That is my fault, and I'm going to rectify it, but I apologize for that. And let's just jump into the news. So, first thing we've got...
the fact that one of the most frequent commenters is now on the podcast.
That's true. That is true. Okay. Alright, so we have some news to cover, and the news to cover is, on November 19th, solicitations for the month of February were released. And then although February is normally the shortest, well, it's always the shortest month, I don't know why I said normally, but it is the shortest month of the year, but it also interestingly brings the lowest number of Bat books that TBU has covered in quite some time. This stems from the fact that there is a bunch of stuff which we'll get into, but the biggest story taking place in February is probably the fact that Batman and Flash will be crossing over for each of the series' 2 issues for the month. The story, titled The Last Cold Case, will deal with the fallout of the events of Heroes in Crisis, while dealing with a cold case from the Justice League's past. Also worth noting is that Joshua Williamson will be writing all 4 issues of the crossover, while Tom King takes the month off. Now, there was an update, real quick, I want to dive into this, just so that we cover this. On November 20th, Tom King stated on Twitter that he took the 2 issues off to work on a secret TV project. While he planned on working with Williamson on the crossover initially, the project came up and Williamson stepped in so King could lend his focus elsewhere for a few weeks. He also stated that he still plans on accomplishing his 100 issues of Batman by adding more to his already planned run. He said that while his main story will wrap in number 100, he will stay on until number 105, saying it will be enough issues to have an epilogue of sorts and be long enough for a trade. So, as of right now, Tom King's around for at least 105 issues.
I told you.
Comments about that?
Well, minus the button and the one you just mentioned and the annual that he didn't write. Although that's not included in that number.
Yeah, the annuals aren't
counting
including. What is the other one that he didn't write?
Night of the Monster Men.
Oh, Night of the Monster
wrote both
Yeah,
of those.
that's right. I forgot. So those 5 issues is what, and I have the strange suspicion that we're going to get at least one more at some point.
Oh, yeah. Tom King
at least
actually
one.
just made a post about how he needs to cut back on conventions because he's not meeting his deadlines.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, the other thing is he was doing Mr. Miracle and Batman, but now he's
clearly going to be doing another one.
Yeah, he's got Heroes in Crisis now too, and on top of that, there is something else that him and Mitch Gerard has been talking about. They've been hinting at on Twitter, some sort of secret project that's not going to happen until middle of 2019 anyway. But I mean, like, he's got lots of things going on. Quite honestly, I feel like he's starting to get to that point where Scott Snyder was, where Scott Snyder was doing Swamp Thing and Batman for a while, and then realized, you know what, this isn't something that I can do, and then he cut back, got rid of Swamp Thing, and then he just stuck with Batman for a while, And then eventually he did Superman Unchained, and...
But he was only doing Batman monthly instead of bi-monthly.
Yeah, and he was... Yeah,
well, but he
true,
was also doing, like, American Vampire and a bunch of other indie stuff.
Yeah, and then he was also, well, in name, at the very least, he was tied to a ton of other series that DC insisted on putting his name on them. Which he claimed he didn't write. We know he didn't write them. It's not a question of whether he wrote them. It was a question of he got top billing for whatever reason. I would say he probably
did write about 1 or 2 issues of Batman Eternal, because the style, I would argue, is really close to what he actually writes.
Yeah.
But I think that was an exception. I think most of the time when his name's on something and there's a co-writer, he's doing plotting.
Yeah. He's just basically sitting down and saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this story? And then the other person's like, yes, that is cool. I'm going to write the script right now. The one thing that I do find interesting is I've been noticing, it seems to me, the big push for Justice League when Justice League relaunched in June was that Scott Snyder was doing it. And I feel like it's like every 3 issues or every 4 issues, James Tynion is doing an issue, which they said, Snyder was up front and said that was going to happen in the first place. But even some of these crossovers that just have been happening, Tynion is the one who's, heading those up. Snyder's name's on it, but he's not the one who's actually writing it. And I find that really interesting because outside of Justice League, Snyder's not working on anything else. I mean, he's talked about how...
he's not working on anything being published right now.
Right. Yes, that's true. He does have Batman Who Laughs coming up actually in this month. And then we also have the Last Night with Greg Capullo that is coming sometime in 2019. And then he did say that in 2019 American Vampire is going to come back. And I believe Witches is coming back. I don't really know anything about Witches other than he writes it. But that is supposed to be happening. Something.
Actually.
Yeah.
And from interviews and stuff, it sounds like people come to him for advice and guidance and how to write. And
doesn't he still teach?
I don't think he teaches anymore. I think he stopped teaching a couple years back. He moved from where he was to a new place. No, he didn't move to LA. He lives on Long Island.
He still lives in New York?
Yeah, but he moved to a new house away from where he was. I think he lived closer to the city, and they moved further out away from the city. And since he moved, it seems like he's working on less projects, but I mean, it could be anything. He also has small kids too. He has a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. So.
And I think he also, he's always been into mentoring, so I'm betting pretty strongly he's doing some mentoring, because he mentored Tynan and Bennett and Higgins, and I bet I know he's got 3 more he's working on.
Yeah, and I think if anything, he is. The thing is with him is he was teaching, and Bennett and Tynan went through Sarah Adams, I want to say, but I don't think that's right. Something I think in it's college. Sarah Lawrence, yeah, college, and that's where he was teaching. But I think after he moved, he wasn't. But then DC did a writer's workshop, and then he was teaching that. And I think that's where the latest class, Tony Patrick, came through that. And that's why he was working on The Signal with Snyder. And there's obviously other ones too.
Those new talent showcase things. He's teaching that.
So there's that. But anyway, it just seems like he's not on as many things as usual. But I think it's more because there's just a lot of stuff that is in the wings waiting to be announced and things like that. But anyway.
I also don't think he's as fast a writer.
It's true. I definitely agree with that too.
And to be fair, not everyone is, very few people can be a Bendis. Bendis ridiculous.
That guy churns out stuff
He's 8 titles a month.
And speaking of titles, I'm going to get to that in a minute because there's an interesting little tidbit of information that I stumbled across while I was putting together the analysis for the solicitations on the site. But anyway, some other highlights from the month include some characters reappearing that haven't been seen for a while. Jason Blood will be appearing in Detective Comics number 998, which will lead to Detective Comics number 1000 coming in March. A character that I'm pretty sure nobody was wanting to see, which we talked about last time. Joker's daughter is going to be in Nightwing number 57. James Gordon Jr., who was last seen in Batgirl a few months back, will be appearing in The Batman Who Laughs, ironically, with the same creative team that brought him back into main continuity before the New 52. during Black Mirror and Detective Comics with Scott Snyder and Jock. And then this is
Scott Snyder title ever.
Yeah. So then we get it. So this is what I was talking about with the normal issues. So I wanted to put this into perspective for a moment. As of February, 3 different miniseries have wrapped. Archie Meets Batman 66, Batman Creature of the Night, and Batman Kings of Fear. All those end in January.
I'll believe Creature of the Night when I see it.
Another 2 miniseries, Batman the Max and Old Lady Harley, are wrapping in February. Suicide Squad had its final issue in January, and there's no new series for that yet, even though there's been rumors since as far back as Comic-Con. Young Justice kicked off in January, but as we've talked about before, we removed Titans from covering it on the site after the events of Nightwing 50 took Dick out of the title for good. And also, Harley Quinn and Nightwing went from double shipping every month to only having 1 issue per month starting in January, but that is now official because they only have 1 issue in February as well. So
Finally.
I tried to get an exact difference, tried to do a count of saying this month to this month. The issue is that we have certain months that there are miniseries that don't release, the Max and Archie Meets Batman 66. Both of those are on some weird 5-week release schedule where they come out every 5 weeks instead of once a month. So you could go for example, in October, there wasn't a new issue for October, but then you get to November and then there's an issue at the beginning of the month, but it's been 5 weeks since the past issue. And then there's other things out there too, like Batman Damned came out in September. The second issue, we're expecting it here in December, but I don't know exactly when at this point, because I haven't heard anything about it. It was supposed to come out in November. But then Creature of the Night, for example, that wraps, but literally the last issue was last April. So it's one of those things where it's very difficult to get an exact number. The point of this is, at least with Suicide Squad gone, Nightwing and Harley Quinn going to single ship per month, and then no other new miniseries that are, being announced or coming out outside of 3 Jokers, which has not been solicited yet, or outside of Batman Who Laughs, which is coming out in December. There's a ton of stuff that seems like there's just not as much content. And it's funny because you mentioned the thing about Bendis, and I think that it really does have to do with the fact that he came into DC and he's got this imprint, Jinx World, where he's publishing 5 titles a month. And that's just eating up spots for other books. As we know, DC has a tendency to hover around 52 issues per month. Sometimes it's 53, sometimes it goes down to 50, but it's around that number is how many issues they release per month. And that's everything. That's the Vertigo stuff, all the DC stuff, any of the imprints. That's what they tend to release. What's odd about that is that, obviously Bendis coming in and doing that imprint and having 5 titles that has to take spots from other stuff that's releasing. We also have the Sandman universe.
Imprints always take slots, though? Because, does Vertigo take slots?
The Vertigo stuff that is currently happening, where they're releasing 1 new series like American Carnage or Goddess Mode, or those are taking slots that were previously DC books.
Oh, okay.
Because for a while there was hardly anything that was Vertigo, and then just this past August or whatever, they announced that huge lineup of new Vertigo books for the foreseeable future. Whether they're miniseries or not, the idea is that they were launching 1 new series for 6 months straight. All of those books are taking up slots from previously DC books, and a lot of it has to do with there was a lot more double shipping books, and now there's not. But then obviously you've got Bendis coming, you've got the new Young Justice stuff coming, and there's a bunch of titles that are spinning out of that. But I'll be honest, okay, there's always been a lot of Batman stuff. There's always been a lot of Batman miniseries. That's just how it always is. Am I complaining that there's not as much? No, I am not complaining, because that means there's less work for me, and that means there's a little bit less work to spread out across the people who are reviewing comics, because there won't be as many titles. And honestly, the DC universe as a whole, if it can be healthy without relying 30% on Batman universe stuff, then by all means, I'm not going to sit here and complain about that. I do find it interesting that there are certain titles that are going in single ship gradually, and then they somehow randomly come back to double shipping, because we've seen that with a couple of different titles. Nightwing was one. So yeah, I mean, the big thing is it's just interesting to see what's going on. The other thing that I think is worth noting is that in February there's absolutely no digital first series releasing, meaning the only one that there is still is Scooby-Doo Team Up, which is still released in chapters, but there's no new Teen Titans Go. Injustice 2 just wrapped up with the annual that released in November.
Wait, that's the
That
end?
was the
That
end?
was the end. Yes, it
What?
was.
10 years of this book that doesn't die and it's over?
It's over.
Oh my goodness.
I guess it is a video game, not a comic book.
Yes, that's true. And there still is the Injustice vs. Master of the Universe, which I believe is digital first, but even if that is...
Well, that'll
it doesn't
wrap up
matter.
really quick.
That's only got like one or two. I think that's done in January too. But I just thought it was interesting because there's nothing else. You know, there was this massive focus on digital first series for the longest time. You had DC Bombshells,
Smallville season 11.
yeah, Smallville season 11. There was a Batman Beyond one. There was Legends of the Dark Knight. Over time, there was also
Was Gotham City Garage digital first?
Gotham City Garage was one. There's a bunch of stuff that is...
There was that Supergirl title.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff over the years, and now suddenly there's nothing. And
Well, I think a lot of that energy is going to the Zoom and the ink imprints.
which is fine.
'cause
I don't have an issue with that. I just
I think
it's
that's
interesting
better for
because,
DC, honestly.
well, I imagine it's better in every way, because I feel like we've talked about this, that stuff is being marketed towards an audience that really needs to be marketed towards. The digital first stuff, outside of like the kid friendly titles, I don't know that none of those were getting crazy great sales in print when they were
Digital
collected.
just has a ceiling until tablets get cheaper. It's never going to be a big enough market share.
It's true.
Yeah, I've tried reading comics on my phone, and it's just like, blah.
Ugh, no.
No.
I hate reading on my phone.
Yeah.
But I got a Kindle explicitly to read comics on it, and it's great. But not many people are willing to sink, $300 to $400 just to read comics.
Yeah. So, outside of that, as far as creator changes, there's only, like I said, Dan Abnett coming on Justice League Odyssey. There's new artists coming on different books too, but Dan Abnett coming on Justice League Odyssey, it's unknown whether or not he's going to be filling in for Williamson for one issue or a couple issues while Williamson covers the Batman crossover. But he conveniently is off of Aquaman, so it's very possible that he could be on Odyssey going forward, and it seems like a title that would be up his alley. But it does not, in my opinion, does not bear well for the idea of what Odyssey was if the main creator who was on the title is leaving before the sixth issue. And then obviously we had the main artist who was announced for the series leave after the second issue, so... And let's just say I haven't really been enjoying it either, so...
Aww,
I don't really see the point of it. I really don't. I feel like this is just like a random mashup of characters that they had nowhere else to put them, so let's put them in this book and build a story specifically for these characters. And I which is fine in most situations, but I don't find the story interesting whatsoever.
It's really going to depend on whether it actually goes somewhere,
Yeah.
because I do admit that the last issue feels like it's kind of treading water.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why they're all gods, and they didn't know it.
Well, I think that's the interesting part. I just think that not answering that question is going to make it drag.
Yeah.
Okay, so then finally, a few appearances from some other TBU characters and other titles. As we know, Deathstroke, the Deathstroke story in Arkham is going to continue. Leviathan starts to make a bigger role in the DC universe with appearances in Action Comics and the Silencer. Not that it's not already appearing in the Silencer, it just continues. And then, but outside of that, there is nobody appearing in any other books, so maybe DC feels like the rest of the line is stronger and the overabundance of TBU characters and series isn't currently needed. We'll see. Right, so if you want to check out a gallery of some of the highlighted art for the month, as well as all of the solicitations for all the titles that are coming out, head over to the site and check it out. It is, like I said, a significantly lower amount than January or December is a weird month, but even November. So take a look at that. The next bit of news we have comes on the 21st. Now, despite the fact that the third issue of Batman and the Outsiders was solicited as in February, it was revealed on the 21st that Batman and the Outsiders has been delayed for the foreseeable future. Basically, DC contacted retailers to inform them that all orders for the issue solicited to this point, including the third issue that had literally just been solicited, have been canceled. Now, obviously, before anyone freaks out about this, DC did tell retailers that the series will be resolicited for a later date. This means instead of the series debuting in December as originally planned, the series will likely not launch until at the very earliest March of 2019. This is despite the fact that single print comics that week had ads inside of them featuring the title and saying that it was launching in December. Now, the question is, what happened? Well, it turns out Brian Hill was asked about the delays on Twitter, and he responded saying that the delay was caused by some other DC Universe events happening and some adjustments needing to be made. He specifically said, there's some in-universe stuff that needs more incorporation into the story. It's a push on the release, but from what I understand, everything is fine. Just taking more time to make the launch more powerful. Everything is fine. We can only launch Outsiders in this iteration once, so it has to accomplish as much as possible in our book and beyond it. I don't know how many superhero comics runs I have in me, so I really want this to be special. So basically, it looks like one of the major events, Heroes in Crisis, Doomsday Clock, or even what's happening in Tom King's Batman, something needed to be adjusted for the new series, and it made more sense to adjust it prior to it releasing. Obviously, whatever happens, here's hoping that things get worked out and the series doesn't suffer similar issues like we saw with Justice League Odyssey that dealt with it when it was reworked and then multiple months of issues were delayed. And then we had the creators kind of bail on the title as well. So here's hoping that doesn't happen.
Exactly the same thing is going to happen. I think Hill's going to be out after maximum of 6 issues and Soy's going to be out after 3.
Aww.
The thing is, it just depends on how much they have to rework. Like, the thing is, we don't obviously know what needs to be reworked. There must be something
They're delaying
happening.
3 months. That's quite a bit.
Yeah. But it could be something... See, here's the thing. It seems as if the reasoning, or like the explanation from Hill, at least to me, comes across as not so much that like they have to redo the issues. Like, Williamson legitimately said they had to rework the entire plot of Odyssey because of that character in No Justice for All Drox, or whatever the heck his name was. Nobody really cared about the character, and they felt like he was not the character to be the main focus for the Justice League, or for the Odyssey title. And that's why they reworked it, was because they wanted to work that character out of the title and work in a different way, because that character just wasn't as accepted as they thought it would be. That's what he said in interviews.
And also, what's his name? Siepen Sijek had actually drawn at least a full issue. He posted clips of it, so
I think he was actually 2
Soy
issues in before they canceled it. But yeah,
and that's a lot of money that DC had to pay him, because he's not going to draw that even if they scrap it for free.
Yeah, so basically the gist of this is, I'm guessing that there could be some simple things. I don't know that it's necessarily that they're being completely reworked, because it feels like if it was being completely reworked, it wouldn't have made sense for the marketing to be pushing the launch of the title, literally the title coming out within 2-3 weeks of this, and then we find out it's being held back. And I have a feeling it has less to do with the fact that they have to like rework and redo certain aspects of the issue, like maybe a panel or a page here or there to like incorporate some of the stuff that's happening elsewhere. But I think it more has to do with the fact that timing wise, something is going to happen in one of, because of Heroes of Crisis or Doomsday Clock. It's probably not Doomsday Clock, though. It's probably Heroes in Crisis, or the stuff that's happening in Tom King's Batman run. There's something in those titles that's going to be happening come spring, March, April timeframe, and they realized, well, why would we launch this in December if we have to adjust the direction of the book come the 4th issue? And there's been rumors out there that Batman could be, like Tom King, come issue 75, Tom King could be shelving Batman for an arc or two, just taking him off the board, and having Bruce not be Batman. There's a lot of rumors out there. I don't have anything concrete, and I don't have anything like, worth bringing up, other than there are rumors out there that people believe that this is going to happen based off of what's been happening in Tom King's run. Batman being off the shelf obviously would be a reason to not launch Batman and the Outsiders, because you can't have Batman and the Outsiders if Batman's not going to be around after the 4th issue. Or you have to significantly change the direction of what you're doing. So I'm hoping that it's just something like that, where it's like we're just going to launch at a different time so that we can readjust. But if it is something like that, you imagine there has to be enough reworked, especially if you push it back too. So not good one way or the other, and this was a title I was looking forward to.
Same. I just really want to see this team, these characters, this writer, this artist, and I feel like DC... I mean, this was already delayed, because Hill finished up his arc of Detective in July, I think, and we were expecting to get Outsiders launched in, like, August or September.
He finished his run at the end of August.
Oh, okay. So we were expecting, like, September or October, and they pushed it out to December. And now they're pushing it at least to March.
Ay caramba.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, at least the PR version of it, that they're trying to make sure the quality doesn't suffer. So that gives you a little bit of hope, but that's probably just something they say anyway, regardless of whether it's going to suck or not.
I mean, it's not like they're going to say, it's crap, we're rewriting it.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's that. That's all the news we've got. There's not... I mean, this is the time of the year where there's not a whole ton of news. So I would imagine that we're not going to see a lot of news, really, in the month of December either, because December is notoriously a slow month. Obviously, solicitations will still come out, but for the most part, that's that. So, we're going to dive straight into our comic book reviews, and the first one we've got is Batman.
Batman number 59. Writer Tom King. Artist Mikel Janin. In the present, Batman breaks into Arkham Asylum, shrouded in blackness. Earlier, he told Penguin he doesn't believe the mobster. Penguin had recently revealed that Bane was in charge of everything that had happened to him. Now, he continues past lines of heavily armed guards, intimidating them into letting him pass. Earlier, Penguin offered evidence of the freeze frame job and others, claiming that Bane is running Arkham Asylum and Gotham City from inside a cell. Batman insisted that Bane was incapacitated by their confrontation in I Am Bane, but Penguin scoffed at his assertion. Now, Bane cowers from Batman's enormous shadow in his padded cell. Batman attempts to force a reaction from the seemingly childish criminal, faking a confidence in Penguin's narrative. He hurls Bane around the cell violently, as Bane whimpers and cries for his mother. Earlier, as Penguin smirked, Batman said that he doesn't believe Cobblepot because he's committing suicide if Bane is as powerful as he claims. Penguin responded that he's motivated to his betrayal by love. Now, as Batman continues to brutally beat the unresisting Bane, the enormous but seemingly helpless man continues to beg for mercy. Batman attempts to force a boast, a reaction, anything, to no avail. Earlier, Penguin demanded that Batman stop throwing him around. He offered to give himself up to Gordon, knowing that Bane will kill him in his cell because, without his wife Penny, life was meaningless. Now, Gordon bursts into Bane's cell, and as he tries to restrain a frantic Batman, is knocked to the floor by a furious punch to the face. Cold with rage, Gordon orders Batman out of his sight, or he'll throw the entire GCPD at him, then the Justice League. Earlier, Penguin looked at his portrait of his wife, a tear falling from his single eye, saying that he had nothing to prove his love, but everything he said was true. The doctors in Arkham worked to treat Bane from internal bleeding after Batman's savage beating, as Batman flees, telling Alfred he doesn't know if he believes the Penguin or Bane. As Bane lies on the gurney, one of his eyes open, a red slit, and he smiles sadistically. So, this is the second issue of this arc, The Tyrant's Wing. We see here that Tom King has his frequent structure of a parallel. So he has the present where Batman's entering Arkham and beating Bane up, and you have the past where the Penguin is revealing what he says is the truth. We don't know if it's true or not. What do you think Bane is up to here?
I'm pretty sure the most obvious answer is he's just trying to make it seem like he is not actually involved. He's trying to mess with Batman's head and be like, I'm just this coward who sits in the corner and I don't actually have anything to do. And I think the reality of it is that he has got everybody tricked. But the question is, how does he have everybody tricked? Because even when Gordon comes in and Gordon's like, I've been watching him on the camera. Well, we know he hasn't been in that corner the entire time. So there's either got to be somebody taking the spot of Bane while the real Bane is down in the caverns of Arkham or the basement of Arkham, like, you know, enacting his plans or whatever, or someone's messing with everybody's minds, which we know is possible too. So
yeah, it really seems like it's not just, you know, discrediting Batman for everyone else, but like making Batman doubt himself. Like, knowing that Bane is behind this, I found myself wondering, well, is Batman doing the right thing right now? Like, is he crazy? Is he just? And it was an interesting mind screw, if you will, that Bane is doing on Batman, and basically making him doubt whether he's even sane. Never mind doing the right thing.
Well, that's a good point. You bring up the idea of Batman doing the right thing, and I think that Tom King has been pushing the idea that Batman isn't necessarily in the right in all his confrontations with Bane. If you look at I Am Suicide, he invades a sovereign nation without any kind of international treaty or anything. He literally is breaking the law of the world. He doesn't attempt to... You know, he could have said, hey, Bane, can I bring Gotham Girl here to let Psycho Pirate heal her in your nation? He's just like, no, I'm taking Psycho Pirate. You're not allowed to have him anymore. And the lack of negotiation or even, like, contacting him seemed really out of character. Now that we know that Batman was suffering from a belief that Catwoman had murdered several hundred people and was just really off his game, I think that action makes more sense, but I do think that Tom King is pushing us to say, we love Batman. Batman's a hero, but he's not always right. He's just human. He's got these things that affect his motivation.
Well, they're definitely doing that. Because, I mean, look what happened with Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole jury issue, which, by the way, is one of the best issues, the whole best arcs that Tom King has done since he started Batman. It was just great exploration of Batman as human and the way that impacts the citizens of Gotham. So I think that Steph really hit on it. Is Batman right? Now, we know, because of the end of Batman 50, that Bane really is playing a chess master and he's really screwing with Batman's head, and the smile at the end of this issue proves that he's not just, you know, this helpless guy who's sort of catatonic or you know, helpless now. But I am very curious to know how he's getting in and out of his cell to the throne of skulls that he likes to sit on. If he is, if none of the guards, like, so we know that a lot of the guards are going to be corrupt. I don't think we have any problem believing that. This is Arkham, this is Gotham. But Gordon is not corrupt. We know that Gordon's not going to lie to Bruce. Now, Gordon can't watch Bane 24/7, and it's possible that he's being shown doctored footage, but how is he getting in and out? And I think Dustin asked the right question. I guess we're going to have to wait and see, because I think this arc is going to be longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be another 3-part arc, but it looks like it's going to stretch out for a little bit longer.
And something like that I don't know if they would even broach till, closer to the denouement, if you will. Because he's got to continue to get in and out, and if they explain it now, it seems like that would take away a bit of the mystery or whatever.
So, this is issue 59. We have, 15... I believe we have 16 issues to go before issue 75, which we've been told is the next big turning point in the overall 100-issue story. How do you think this is going to push forward to 75? How do you think this mind screw that Bane's pulling on Batman will affect him? I mean, Dustin's talked about rumors about Batman not being Batman. Do you think he's actually going to do that? Do you think he's going to take off the cowl?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I've been spending probably a little bit more time in places I shouldn't when it comes to rumors and people talking about DC stuff and things like that. But the thing is, like, I don't know. I feel like something that drastic has to happen. It would make sense for him to take off the cowl. Some of the things I've read online say that, like, that basically this is Tom King, kind of reinventing Night's End to a degree, and Nightfall and things like that. So I mean, I don't see Bane breaking Batman, but I feel like emotionally he could break him, and then that's why he takes the cowl off. But I don't know. I mean, like, let's be honest here. If he didn't take the cowl off after the stuff with Catwoman happened, and he didn't take the cowl off after Nightwing got shot, I don't know what is going to actually prompt him to take the cowl off unless someone actually dies. And then if that's the case, like, Alfred would be the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I was about to say, Bane's broken his relationship with his love, Catwoman. He's broken his relationship with his first son, Dick. He is breaking his relationship with his best friend, Jim Gordon. I think that the father relationship that Bruce and Alfred have is going to be the next thing under attack.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's pretty clear.
And that's also probably, I'm sure that ties into the fact that, Flashpoint Batman was in Batman 52. That'll probably have something to do with that father aspect with Alfred. But the thing that I guess I don't understand is, if you spend 75 issues breaking him down, you can't just jump back into, like, even if Batman takes the cowl off by issue number 75, and he goes, like, let's say 6 issues, even 12 issues, not being in the cowl, that only leaves another, like, 13 issues before he gets to 100. I don't know that you could, like, I feel like the build-up to this is so long and so many issues that if we only get the story wrapping up in, like, the last 5 issues because suddenly we've got to sprint towards the end, I don't know that it's going to be a really good landing. I mean, I really don't. Because the thing is, like...
Well, how many issues was Bruce back in the cowl in Super Heavy? He was back in the cowl 1 issue.
That's true, but
so,
I mean, let's be honest here.
I wouldn't put it past them to do that.
That's the problem with these stories. I mean, you spend so much time working up to this massive, like, conflict, but then the conflict happens, and then it's like, so how do you get out of the conflict? Oh, we're going to do this, and it's only going to be, like, a couple issues. And it's like, you just spent... let's just put this in perspective here. If he spent 95 issues building up towards the big end... okay, we don't even have to pretend. This happened. This has happened multiple times. We saw this in Batman Eternal and Batman and Robin Eternal, where they built this up and built and built and built and built, and then the end, and you're like, that's it? That's all? I mean, Batman Eternal had 52 issues, which, I mean, Tom King's got well more than that, but Batman Eternal had 52 issues, and it didn't feel like anything was actually, like, getting anywhere until just the last couple, and it's like, there's too much build-up, and I remember specifically complaining on the Comic Cast about we spent too much time building this up, and, maybe it shouldn't have been 52 issues. As great of an idea of that is, it was a bad idea in the larger scheme of things, because it just was too much. There was too much going on, and then it felt like stuff wasn't even resolved. And when you spend 52 issues not resolving things, that's a horrible way of ending it. And I can only imagine that, we get through the 105 issues that Tom King is on, and then suddenly it's like, whatever happened to why didn't we ever get back to Gotham Girl, or why didn't we ever get back to this part of it? Or I really hope that does not happen. I really hope it doesn't happen, and there is some conclusion, because honestly at this point it just feels like it's just building, and there's more less and less things being answered and wrapped up.
Well, I would disagree. I think that we're seeing a lot of parallels. I mentioned this in my review, but the fight the beating that Batman gives Bane is deliberately paralleling what happened in I Am Bane in the final issue of that. And so I think that we see that Tom King is deliberately layering in these bits to tie everything together, and I think that's really good. We know that he's building to a death of Batman, because he mentioned it at the end of I Am Gotham. Gotham Girl has this narration saying, later, after Batman died, after what I did. And now we know that Gotham Girl is working with Bane, so that's part of what she did. I'm sure she's going to come back. So I think there's a good chance that when we get to 75, that's going to be the death of Batman, and then we've got a year, 24 issues, to build up to the confrontation in 100. And I'm with you. I'd like to see a minimum of... I personally would like to see 12 issues of Batman just sort of building and building up to 100. So from 88 to 100. I think it might be more likely to be like 94 to 100, 6 issues. But I have been satisfied with most of Tom King's output. I was disappointed with Mr. Miracle. I know. Please give me comments. Come on our Discord. Give us comments so you can tell me how I'm wrong. But I do think Tom King can stumble. But I think if you look at something like Omega Men or Grayson or Vision, he builds, and his endings are satisfying. Now, they're very, very tragic. So I wouldn't expect issue 100 and then the epilogue of 101 to 105 to be happy. But I think it will have meaning. I think it'll have some real satisfaction. At least that's what I hope. I'm trying to get my optimism back after issue 50 killed it.
Kind of going back to your original question about like how are they going to uncowl him, it makes sense, I think, so if this is the psychological Nightfall, that they'll just continue this mind screw till Batman feels he cannot be Batman. Like, I don't know if it necessarily has to involve the death of a father or father figure. I mean, it might, especially since Flashpoint Batman is involved. But I wonder if the final kicker is just going to be something that Batman will start questioning his judgment to the point where he wonders if he can even be Batman anymore. And then that's what prompts him to take the cowl off.
Well, I really think that he's going to do something that's going to count as a death. Because he talked about how Grant Morrison told him that he had to kill Batman. And Scott Snyder also killed Batman. And Scott Snyder said he got the same advice. So I think we're going to have something that counts as a death.
Well, I think taking the cowl off, because,
yeah,
I mean,
taking
Batman...
the cowl off is just as...
is the death
just
of Batman.
As equivalent, yeah.
Could be. I feel like it's cut for cheat, though. Those are my questions. So I'm pretty much done with my discussion, I think.
I had one question.
Go for it.
So pretty much we hear not too much more about Penny in this issue, but the one descriptor we get about her is she has green eyes. And Selina has green eyes. So I don't think it's a coincidence that the only physical descriptor they give is the same eye color as Bruce's girlfriend. Do you think that was intentional by Bane, or do you think that was something else?
It's definitely intentional by King.
Yes.
I don't know if it's intentional by any of the characters. Because one of the things I have been loving about the Tyrant Ring so far is this parallel between Penguin's loss of his wife and Bruce's loss of Selina.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I think I see what you're saying, Steph, about, that could easily be a connection, because if Penguin says something about the green eyes, that might, hit a emotional button.
Oh, you think that Bane might have, like, made Penguin, like, planned this so it would be even more unsettling to Bruce?
Yeah, like, I mean, if they were...
I'm guessing, yeah. I'm guessing that's, yeah. I mean, I don't know that he is, but I mean, King could definitely be implying that. Because there's no, I mean, like, let's be honest, why would Penguin even need to mention the eye color?
Yeah.
Unless there was a reason, and the reason is that it hits that button, it's poking the bear that is Batman. So
do you think Penguin is being honest, or do you think he's still working for Bane even when he's sort of betraying him? Do you think this is still part of Bane's plan?
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past Penguin still working for Bane, because quite honestly, it seems like anytime anybody is working, or it seems to be going against Bane, it turns out they are. I mean, like, the only exception was the Catwoman thing in I Am Suicide, but where we thought she was working, but she was actually double-crossing Bane, which, if that wasn't the case, we would have never gotten to the direction we went with the wedding. But I wouldn't put it past Penguin, quite honestly, because I feel like eventually, if he was still working against Bane, I feel like it would just like, I don't know that ultimately Batman cannot protect Penguin forever. It's just not possible. And with everything that is going on with Bane and the control that he has, I don't know that Penguin can honestly see himself in a position where he could protect himself, or that he could see Batman protecting him from Bane, especially with the way Bane's reach has been.
And I mean, after Penguin talked to Bane in prison, or in Arkham, this is the only thing that Penguin's done, so it would make sense that this was the instruction that Bane gave him to do.
Excellent point. I hadn't really considered that, but I guess we'll just have to keep reading to find out.
Oh, I guess he was supposed to kill Alfred.
All right, so I'm going to give this issue a total of 3.5.
I gave it a 4. I really liked the art, and it really messed with my mind, so I figured it was very well written.
I think I gave it a 3.5 as well.
All right, so that's going to give Batman a total of 3.5 out of 5 Batarangs. Let's move into our next book, Detective Comics. Detective Comics number 993, written by James Robinson, art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. The issue starts off with basically a priest reading a eulogy as as Bruce Gordon and others stand around the grave, taking in every spoken word. He says that Gotham has enjoyed learning one of their most notorious villains has died, and although that may be true, Gotham also lost one of their heroes, Harvey Dent. The priest tells the crowd that the moment came, Harvey sacrificed himself for the greater good. When Cobra threatened Gotham by poisoning their water supply, Harvey immediately partnered with Batman to stop this criminal act. In a flashback, the camera shows what happened the night Dent died. Harvey and Batman entered the sewers, searching for the Cobra cult. Batman warns Harvey if the chemical agent reaches the water, then there is no way to stop this mind-controlling agent. Cobra will have immediately won. There is no way to stop this agent. There is only one way to stop the agent, and it's heat. Fire, steam, really anything hot will do as long as it is a way to neutralize the threat. At a two-way junction in the sewers, Harvey and Batman split up. In his search, Batman stumbles upon Cobra. He disarms the minions and tries to rejoin Harvey, but Harvey has his own mission, to find the chemical agent. Batman tries to warn Harvey to no avail. Harvey jumps headfirst into their staging area. Right before Cobra is able to dump the chemical agent, Harvey shoots a pressured valve on the device, and the entire sewer erupts in flames. The priest, back in the present time, asks the attendees if Harvey Dent is a hero. He most certainly was, at least for a moment. Bruce, from his office at Wayne Enterprises, receives a call from Alfred. Alfred is a bit surprised that he is there. He assumed Bruce would want to return to the manor after the funeral. Bruce states that he has work to catch up on since he is not there very often. Also, the work is pretty mind-numbing, a good distraction for a man grieving his childhood friend. Alfred states Cobra was defeated and the gas was neutralized, and there is a silver lining in all of this. Bruce agrees that Cobra was defeated, but he refutes the claim that the gas was neutralized. Bruce also states that Dent's sacrifice was none at all. Harvey faked his death. In the airport hangar, Batman tells Harvey, who is accompanied by the Fireflies, the agents of Leviathan are not coming. Harvey, surprised, asks how he found him. Batman shares Dent had the Fireflies released for their help disarming the bomb. He knew something was up, most likely that Dent needed Carson's help with the fire. He needed his help to survive the fire, but appeared to have been killed. Harvey admits that at the moment he had to take his chance to escape. He says it could not hurt to help Leviathan sense that they are on the rise. Bruce states all he had to do was to monitor Carson, and he knew that he would lead them straight to Harvey. Thankfully, he already planted a tracker on Carson during their first fight. Batman warns the Fireflies that they should disengage and flee. Carson tells Harvey that he is sorry, and he and Pike leave. Harvey admits that he would have done the same. Leaving Batman and Harvey alone, they prepare for a fight. This old game, the Batman vs. Two-Face, is afoot again. As Batman jumps down to arrest Harvey, he admits he is thankful Harvey is still alive. Harvey shoots at Batman and says that he is happy too. All right.
The end. Forever.
Forever and ever, they will always be together. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, if Batman was, if Batman knew that Harvey wasn't dead, why did he go to Wayne Enterprise and say that he was looking for something to be mind-numbing for someone who was grieving the life of a friend who died during his childhood? I mean, like, let's be honest here. There's this build-up that, oh, Harvey Dent, he's dead. But I knew all along he wasn't dead. But I just said he was dead to everybody that is listening. Because why? There's no reason. There's really no reason. I don't honestly have a lot to say about this issue. I mean, it comes as to no surprise. I have not enjoyed this story arc whatsoever. I do like Two-Face as a character, but I feel like the entire, like, I'll give this one compliment to the story arc. I like that we can see Harvey be a hero, even if he is looking out for number one. He does help Batman take down Cobra, and from releasing the mind controlling agent. So there's that part of it. I do like when Harvey is portrayed as a hero, because he is that. He was that before he became Two-Face, and I think that is a very important role for that character. Unlike some other people, other writers out there who have written Harvey Dent as, this other person. Obviously, there's a split personality here, but the issue that I've always had with other writers' interpretations of Two-Face is that it's always Two-Face, and it's all about the coin, and it's nothing else. It's not that there's a conflicting, I have to be the hero, and then the other one is I have to, just raise hell. That's the version of Two-Face that I prefer, the one that's conflicting with itself, not just, I gotta flip a coin and the coin's gonna decide whether or not I kill you or not. That's not the same thing as having a split personality. So I at least appreciate that aspect of Two-Face, but honestly, like, the art was great. I've got nothing but good things to say about the art. It's an absolute shame that this art was wasted on this horrific story. But honestly, did anybody for a minute when they started reading this comic actually think that Two-Face was dead? Probably not, because let's be honest. No. I mean, he's not going to be dead.
They're not going to let someone kill Two-Face off in a fill-in arc.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where, whenever a cover hints at something like that, it's not happening. But,
like Batman catching on fire. That would have been so interesting.
Yeah.
But he didn't catch on fire.
So, yeah.
Two-Face didn't.
I mean, honestly, if you guys have any comments about the arc as a whole, I don't have any questions because I am just glad it's over.
Ding dong, Cobra's dead. The wicked Cobra, the Cobra's dead. Ding dong.
This arc was just dreadful. I don't know if I can say is worse than what I read from Robinson's Wonder Woman run, but it was terrible. And it's literally resetting itself at the end of this issue. telling us that the entire story didn't matter at all.
There's no words for this issue.
It is terrible. It is terrible.
There were enough words in the issue.
That's true. Too many words.
I liked, I disliked the expositing funeral minister. That was dreadful.
Come on, Bruce. You're like the richest guy. Hire a good pastor.
Hire a good pastor. Hire someone who doesn't need to retell the entire last arc.
Heck, get Leslie to do a eulogy. I'm sure Leslie's better than this.
He was a good guy. He did stuff. He died. Amen.
Yeah. I do want to point out that the only other story that I remembered James Robinson being involved in that was Batman related was Batman Face to Face. And this came out back in like 2006. It was like 5 issues of Batman and 4 issues of Detective Comics. And it just obviously happened to be a Two-Face story too. Looking at Robinson's bibliography when it comes to his stuff with Batman, he's also worked on some other stuff with for Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. But none of that stuff is specific. None of that stuff is specifically continuity type stories. And none of them are very long. A lot of the issue, I'm looking at the list of issues that he did, and a lot of them, like there was none that were more than 4 issues, but most of them were just 1 or 2 fill-in issues. The thing is, like, I don't know. Let's just agree that Robinson should stay away from Batman for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Just go do your TV stuff, Robinson. You'll make more money and you won't bother us as much.
Have you guys ever seen the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie?
No, but
yes.
I've seen a couple episodes of the TV show, but the
show is
everybody always.
fabulous.
I've always heard really good things about the show. The movie, people said it's utter crap.
I've watched 5 minutes of the movie, and it has established itself as my standard for the worst thing I've ever seen. And I think now for comics, this might be on par with my standard for the worst comic ever written. But I'm limited in my knowledge. You know, I'm still new to comics, so I've only read a few stinkers.
But, the funny thing is, if, I keep thinking about the fact that Detective Comics sales have been just slowly going down. And I don't know what the sales numbers were since Robinson came on board, but I imagine they have gone down more. And, like, Tomasi coming on to Detective Comics will boost it a little bit, but it's not going to do, like, some crazy boost where it's going to be, like, a couple extra tens of thousands of issue or comment, per issue. That's not going to happen.
I think they're really hoping that 1,000 gives it a strong boost.
Well, I'm sure it will give it a strong boost, but I doubt the boost is going to stay around. It's just one of those things where it's like, Tynion was doing a great job, and I get that, the main reason why he left the title was because he was offered Justice League Dark, which was one of his, like, dream projects to do. I'm not going to fault the guy for wanting to, do his dream project. And honestly, it seems like he's way more involved in way more stuff than he was when he was just doing Detective Comics. Because
no kidding, he just did 2 back-to-back weekly crossovers.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, that's insane to begin with. But then on top of that, he's also doing, like I said earlier, like every 4th issue of Justice League. And it feels like I see his name on more issues of Justice League or the Justice League event stuff than Snyder himself, who's supposedly the architect behind New Justice. But anyway, the thing that I keep wrapping my head around is the fact that, like, the sales had been going down, but it's just that gradual, deterioration of the sales to begin with. Batman has continually slowly dropped here or there. It doesn't stay up. Eventually, it has to go down. For whatever reason, when you compare the stuff like Scott Snyder was doing, for whatever reason, he had these moments where, like, it would start to go down, but then it would spike and would go back up for some reason. And I don't know why that was happening as much more frequently than what we're seeing here. But I feel like Robinson coming onto the book kind of didn't do this book any favors. And although Tomasi will be around until number 1,000, which will clearly give it a spike, I don't see it, moving up significantly before that spike, just because it's the 1000th issue. So that's that. All right, so Detective Comics, I'm going to give 1.5.
I gave it a 2 because Cobra died and the art was really good. 2 out of 5.
1.
All right, and over on the site, Tony gave it 1, so that's going to give Detective Comics a total of 1.5 out of 5 batarangs. That is all of our in-depth reviews. Let's head over to the site for Greater Gotham. First up, on November 21st, we have main TBU books. We already talked about Batman number 59. Nightwing number 53, Rick Grayson starts to move on with his life, and Detective Sapenza has mixed results in his first outing as Nightwing. This is reviewed by Adele. He gave it 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs down.
Harley Quinn number 54. In the wake of minor disaster breaking the internet with Harley's breakdown video, Harley takes matters into her own hands and escalates the action to compensate. This was reviewed by David. He gave it 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Batman 100-page comic giant number 5. Batman and Green Arrow chase the Riddler but stumble onto something much more dangerous. Ian reviewed this on the site and he gave it 3 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Abstain.
Neutral.
No secondary TBU books. Main DC Universe books. Justice League number 12. While the League gains the upper hand against the Triumvirate, the Legion of Doom make off with the totality. This is reviewed by Corbin. He gave it 3 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs down.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Justice League Dark number 5. Constantine and Swamp Thing challenge Dr. Fate. The rest of the team goes to Mira, and a stranger appears. This was reviewed by Tony. He gave it 4 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Neutral, leaning to up.
Neutral.
Teen Titans number 24. The team's trust is put to the test as a building threatens to collapse on top of them. This is reviewed by Adil. He gave it 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Neutral. Abstain.
Secondary DC Universe books. Injustice 2 Annual number 2. The Injustice versions of Batman, Joker, Catwoman, Alfred, Nightwing, Oracle, Batwoman, Killer Moth, Deadshot, and Killer Croc appear in the issue.
Thumbs up.
It's very thumbs up. That would be actually a suggestion that I would say if you're not picking up. Not that I suggest picking up the entire series, because I've been following along loosely with the entire run of the Injustice stuff. But that annual, by far, if you haven't read it, find it, read it. It's
Absolutely.
some good stuff.
It's good stuff.
I have to give it a reluctant thumbs up because I hate the concept and everything, but it was very well done.
All right, moving on to November 28th, main TBU books. We already talked about Detective Comics. Batgirl number 29, Barbara realizes her father and much of Gotham's elite are in danger from Grotesque's museum bomb. This is reviewed by Jerry. He gave it 4 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Batman Beyond number 26. While Terry and Matt try to regroup following the bombing of the Wayne building and rescue as many people as possible, Barbara faces off with the Joker that the Bat family remembers all too well. This is by Bill. He gave it 4 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Neutral and a question. Is Return of the Joker still active at all in this continuity?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm confused.
Yeah, you're not.
I guess we'll have to find out.
All right, secondary TBU books. Batman Kings of Fear number 4. Scarecrow sits Batman down for a session and learns a bit about him. This is by Corbin. He gave it 4 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Neutral, and can I ask a question? I don't know if I missed something at the beginning, but why is Batman letting Scarecrow be his psychologist?
I think he's under fear gas right now.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, because even in this issue, they make a comment about how the fear toxin that Batman is currently experiencing is different than usual.
Yeah.
And he says it's because they used some chemicals, like cleaning chemicals, to create it. So,
Ian, sorry.
I'll give it a thumbs up.
Old Lady Harley number 2. Harley and Red Tool meet up with the future Batman and then travel to what has become of Arkham. This is by David. He gave it 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Neutral.
Abstain.
Also, I didn't like that Catwoman was married to Killer Croc. What?
What?
There's so many weird stuff going on there.
I feel like I abstained in the right
Somehow
place.
Dick Grayson married Harley Quinn.
Well, everyone married Harley Quinn in this book.
That's true.
What?
All right, main DC Universe books. DC Nuclear Winter Special #1. Rip Hunter tells a series of post-apocalyptic holiday tales set in the DC Universe. This is by Paul. He gave it 3 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a neutral.
Neutral.
I think this was a thumbs up. It was a lot better than the summer one, and I'd say it's about equal to the Halloween one.
Oh, I like the summer one better.
The summer one.
Oh, really? I didn't like the summer one. It's not quite as good as last year's Christmas one, but this one I thought was pretty good.
All right, Heroes in Crisis #3. More insight into what happened at the Sanctuary before the catastrophic events of the first issue are shared. So by Dell, he gives 3.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
A thumbs up neutral.
I'm giving this one a thumbs up on execution, but I'm still really unhappy with the fact that they've decided that they need to go grim and gritty again after the optimism of Rebirth.
I just was frustrated how nothing seemed to really happen. Like, this issue didn't really move the story forward that much, I didn't think.
And I think that was because this issue was added in.
Oh, was it?
Because this was one of the issues that... Remember, it was only supposed to be 7 issues initially, and then they added 2... Mm-hmm. And Lee Weeks was one of them. Well, this was the Lee Weeks issue that they added in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure that the reason why nothing's moving is because of that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind nothing happening because, as I said, in execution it's very good. I feel I have a lot of emotional reactions. It's very effective, and art. Lee Weeks is a master. He's one of my favorites now. They killed Wally West, who came back in Rebirth as the symbol of Rebirth. This is a problem.
I know.
Unless, of course, none of them are actually dead.
No, they're dead.
Unless none of them are dead. They can't be dead. They literally killed everybody. Literally killed everybody.
We'll hedge your bets on that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're dead.
Justice League Odyssey #3. The team is against a new threat as they learn more about the ancient prophecy that includes them. This is by Bob. He gave it 1 out of 5. I'm going to give this one thumbs down.
5.
Neutral.
I'm going to say thumbs up, although I think that they should have put Di Giandomenico on this title earlier, because I like Philip Briona's okay, but he's nowhere near the artist that Sejic or Di Giandomenico is. And this title really needs art to carry it.
All right, secondary DC Universe books: Aquaman, The Justice League Drown #1, Batman, Batwoman, Huntress, Man-Bat, and Solomon Grundy all appear in the issue. Injustice vs. Masters of the Universe #5, the Injustice versions of Batman, Catwoman, Batman, Damian Wayne, Red Hood, and Harley Quinn appear in the issue. Silencer #11, Talia al Ghul, along with Leviathan, appear in the issue. Titans #30, Dick Grayson appears as Robin and Nightwing in the issue. Finally, TBU trades and hardcovers from the past 2 weeks. Now, obviously, as you know, holidays are right around the corner, so DC's got a ton of stuff that's releasing in preparation for your wallets to be opened and to be used. We have Batman Night Quest, The Search trade paperback, Batman by Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato, deluxe edition hardcover, Legends of the Dark Knight, Norm Breyfogle, Volume 2 hardcover, Harley Quinn by Carl Kessel and Terry Dodson, deluxe edition Book 2 hardcover, Harley's Little Black Book trade paperback, Justice League Volume 1, the Totality trade paperback, Suicide Squad Rebirth, deluxe edition Book 3 hardcover, Justice League Power Rangers trade paperback, Batman Night Sin trade paperback, Teen Titans The Silver Age Volume 2 trade paperback, and Young Justice Book 3 trade paperback. So it's everything that you can get right now that is released. If we give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a neutral rating, if we give a rating to any of those books, we have full reviews, including the synopsises of all of those over on the site. And every single week we have reviews Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday are all the Batman-specific books. Thursday is all of the greater Gotham, like the villains and allies of Batman that are specifically stationed in Gotham, normally stationed in Gotham, I should say, or originate from Gotham. Those all release on Thursday, and then on Friday is all the team books or the greater DC stuff that we specifically cover. So that is what you can expect week to week. Obviously, if you're reading some of these reviews on the site as a alternative to purchasing the comics themselves, I strongly urge you to support us on Patreon, because all the people who are reviewing those titles on the site, they volunteer their time for the site, so you can share just a little bit of money with us on Patreon to support the site in return. Also, be sure to leave comments and share your rating for those issues, which is at the bottom of each review over on the site. That being said, before we move on to our next thing, let's real quick thank our Patreon supporters for over the past couple weeks. Thank you, Theodis, Robert, Stephanie, Brendan, Ian, Anthony, Arturo, Erwin, Brian, Jay Dutton, Real No Deuces, and Donald. Thank you very much for supporting us at the tiers that you guys support us. As I said earlier, as you are probably aware, because I'm guessing the vast majority of our supporters listen to our Comic Cast, and that's why they're supporting us. We do have 2 episodes of TBU Raw for November that will still release, as well as one more TBU Extra. The one TBU Extra that we did release was Red Hood Outlaw for November. We will still release the other ones. I apologize that we didn't release them in November, but trust me when I say, when we release them in the hopefully the next week, you guys will have a ton of stuff, because we're going to try to make sure that the stuff for December is going to come quicker and not just at the end of the month. A lot of this has to do with, I tend every year around this time, November, December, I tend to have a lot less time. Work gets busy for me. The site is obviously a huge priority, and then I just have a problem making sure that I take care of stuff that we need to take care of. So I apologize, but it is coming, and we're doing our best to make sure that we produce that content for you guys. So thank you very much for supporting us on Patreon. If you are so inclined to support us on Patreon, there are other rewards outside of the TBU Raw and TBU Extra, which we've talked about in the past. Right now, there's also a huge holiday giveaway. You can see the details over on the Patreon as to what we are actually giving away, but we're giving some of the stuff that's part of the giveaway for this quarter is actually, we have an Eagle Moss Batman statue that stands just under 2 feet tall. That we were given by Eagle Moss for our giveaway. We also have a giant not giant, but a mini 4D Gotham City puzzle, Batman virtual reality playset, and then there's also Batman the Dark Knight Master Race hardcover, as well as the Burton and Schumacher Blu-ray of all of those films as well. So lots of stuff. We made sure we had a decent giveaway this time around, and the statue was just something extra that, because we got it from Eagle Moss, we just put it in there as well. So be sure to enter. All it takes is an entry at the $10 level, and you get an entry for each month that you are doing. The quarter ends in December, so if you support us before the end of December, you'll get an entry into that contest, or I should say raffle, to win those prizes. So be sure to check that out if you're not supporting us already. For those of you who are, thank you very much. With that being said, normally we would jump over to listener Q&As, but as I pointed out earlier, we don't have any. I don't know why. I imagine you guys have just as little amount of time as I do, and that's probably why. So I'm not going to fault you for it, because I don't have a ton of time either right now. So what we are going to do is we're going to jump into a monkey watch. Monkey Watch 2017! And our Monkey Watch this time around is a topic that Ian has come up with. So, Ian, pitch away.
So, for our Monkey Watch, I've been thinking a lot about life as a fan, because in 2016, when Rebirth started, I was just incredibly excited by so many different titles. There's that excitement you get when there's a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of content that you really anticipate, and creators you trust and stuff. And in the last year, 2018, almost every single creative team has changed. Almost every single concept for the books that started in 2016 has changed. And so my question for all of us is going to be, what right now, in the next 3 months, because that's when we've got our solicits, is making you excited to be part of the Batman universe? What title, or what movie's coming out, or what... Heck, it could be a reread project if you're going back through your archives or getting some new stuff. I know a lot of our fans on Discord are collectors who get like these great deals of old comics. So what's exciting you?
Okay, so I would say currently, looking at the comic side of things, I currently am really enjoying Batgirl. I don't know that I can go on and on about Batgirl enough. I really am enjoying what we're getting with Batgirl. That title is honestly one of my favorite right now. And I think it's because for such a long period of time that book sucked, in my opinion. And now I finally feel like it's at a place that I'm really enjoying it. So Batgirl is really good. I will admit that anytime a new issue of Batman comes out, even if I know there's not going to be a lot revealed in it, I still am very anxious to read it right away when it comes out, because I want to see what's going on. I want to see the next part of the story of what Tom King has in store. So is
that because it's Tom King's, or is it because it's Batman and he's your favorite character?
No, it's because it's Tom King. I mean, because let's be honest, I could care less about what was happening in Detective Comics.
True.
Prior, and I will say this, when James Tynion was on the book, anytime a new issue came out, I wanted to read it right away. Even the Brian Hill stuff was good stuff, and I wanted to see what it was. This James Robinson, obviously, we've beat that horse way too much. But I would say that if the story is good, I'm really anxious to read it. Right away. Right now, the stuff that I'm reading right away is Batman, Batgirl. I'm also really enjoying the direction that they're doing, or what they're doing with Red Hood right now. Nightwing, I'm kind of still on the fence, but it's leaning more towards. I'm interested to see where it goes. The one thing that I am looking forward to is Tomasi on Detective Comics. That's just right around the corner. That's something I'm looking forward to. Detective Comics number 1000, which is going to be happening in March, I'm looking forward to. But as far as current comics right now that I am day of release, as soon as I get the comics, the books I'm reading right away, I would say are Batman, Batgirl, Red Hood, Heroes in Crisis, Doomsday Clock. Those are the titles that I'm immediately reading right away.
Yeah, a lot of the same ones for me. Batgirl is just awesome. I think that last issue, I was turning the pages. I was like, what's going to happen? And it just really pulls you in. Just really good writing, really good art. And I think I found, and I'm almost ashamed of this, I think I found that if a character I like, a minor character, Batman's too big, he's everywhere, but if a minor character I like is in the book, I'll probably read it and enjoy it, even if it's not the best. So I'm really loving Adventures of the Super Sons, just because I love Jonathan and I love Damian. The story is ridiculous. The story is nonsense, but it's so fun, and it's making me excited about Tomasi coming on Detective. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. And Catwoman, just because I like my cats. I've forgotten how much I love Catwoman till on Discord the other day, Dustin was asking about someone who's looking for Batman Catwoman relationship stories. I was like, I think I remember a few of those, and then I posted 20 of them. It's oh yeah, I love Catwoman, I forgot. So even though it's slow going, that book I still am interested in where it's going, and it's got my crazy cat lady in it, and yeah, all the big stories like you were saying, Heroes in Crisis is interesting. Tom King, even though he's a wonderful writer, and he doesn't write pleasant stories, and that's not what he does, and I think it's interesting and something that's apparently not Ian's cup of tea, but I'm really enjoying Heroes in Crisis, and I really did like Mr. Miracle. That was good. The ending was a little but it was very good all the way through. So that wasn't really Batman, was it? But I was enjoying Mr. Miracle while that was coming out. Creature of the Night. I'm enjoying that one too, even though I have to wait a very, very,
it's been a year?
very long time between issues.
Creature of the
Something
Night
like
is
that.
really good. I really like that too. I didn't even mention
Yeah.
that, but I am looking forward to the final issue coming in January
Yeah, me
if
too.
it actually releases. But yes,
Hope it does, because it's supposed to come out on my birthday, so that'll be a good present.
that would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Teen Titans, because it has Damien in it.
Neither of you mentioned the Wonder imprint with Young Justice and some of those other. Is that exciting to you, or just sort of?
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm skeptical on it, and this is why. I like the idea of Tim Drake being in the title. I'm concerned about the portrayal of the character that we're going to get. Mostly because, I'll admit, I've said this multiple times before, I don't read Marvel stuff. So I'm not super familiar with Bendis' work. I did read Man of Steel last year, or earlier this year, not last year. Earlier
Almost
this year I
last
read
year.
Man of Steel, and I've been keeping up with what's been going on in Action Comics and Superman, and it's not that it's bad, I just feel like the focus has been on some of these original creations, and obviously that's going to happen regardless. It's not just a Bendis thing of creating your own characters.
Snyder.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, I feel as if when you, like, it's one thing to create your own characters when you have, like, a single character like Superman. It's a whole different story when you have a team of characters that have interacted with multitudes of characters over the years. And I'm also slightly concerned because I feel like Tim could be potentially de-aged, at least based off of the art, and that's slightly concerning. I also don't know how this is going to pick up from where we last saw Tim, which was him going on a road trip with Steph and them investigating to see this, the future aspect of them being Batgirls and things like that. I don't know if that's even going to be touched on. I hope it does, but I doubt it will be because I feel like Bendis isn't going to touch that. And that's why I'm on the fence. I mean, like, I am looking forward to it because Tim's going to be in it. And there's some other titles, like, I'm kind of interested to see what Mark Russell does with the Wonder Twins. The Ginny Hex stuff, I also have some interest in. And I know I think she's just part of Young Justice. I don't think she's getting her own book. But the big thing is, like, I'm optimistically looking forward to it. But I can't sit here and say that, like, I'm gung-ho for it.
I've heard too many rumors about what he's going to do to John.
Well, but that's in Superman.
Well, I don't think it's rumors at this point.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
covers out there.
Oh. So I already hate Bendis. I have never even read anything he's done, but I already hate him.
Oh, don't hate on Bendis.
I'll give him a
think
chance.
He wrote Ultimate Spider-Man.
But if you were a Peter Parker fan, you probably weren't a fan of that.
No. He wrote Peter Parker for like 150 issues before Miles came on.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I just always thought Ultimate Spider-Man was Miles. But that just proves that I don't read Marvel.
Well, I think that his work on Ultimate Spider-Man shows that he can do the kind of hopeful, idealistic, fun, sweet-natured boy that Tim could be. So hopefully he'll tap into that for Young Justice. So for myself, I mean, I'm the one who asked this question because I'm personally sort of looking at a wall right now. Not that I'm not excited, but when Rebirth started, I was so excited about Detective Comics because it had my favorite character, had Tim and Cass and all these things, and it was by Tynion, who'd been the guy who got me back into DC Comics in 2014 with Batman Eternal. And then, of course, there was The Birds of Prey, my favorite team book, coming back with my favorite characters on it, and Wonder Woman with Greg Rucka. Like, there was so much to be excited about, and all of those things are gone. So, I would say what's getting me excited on a daily, sort of an immediate basis, not in terms of long term, like I love Batman in general, but like right now, I would say that, of course, it's Deathstroke, which I currently count because it's doing its Arkham arc, and that's very connected to Two-Face and Doctor Strange and Arkham in general, and so it's got that Gotham flavor, and there's just so much detail and passion, and this whole arc of Deathstroke since Rebirth started has been truly dark and cynical, but also full of heroics and connection between these characters who you wouldn't think you'd care about. Like, I never cared about Deathstroke before this started, but now he's one of the people that I actually am interested in. I may not like Heroes in Crisis, but Tom King's run on Batman, I feel like I've shown that I like really have an emotional connection to what Tom King's doing with Batman. I may be a more disappointed reader right now because of I truly believed that Batman would get married to Catwoman, and he didn't. Spoiler. But I find the emotions that he's depicting Bruce going through to be very, very honest and very powerful. And when he's paired with the right artist, when he's paired with Lee Weeks or McKelvin, it's just an amazing ride, and I do tend to eagerly read it as soon as I get it. When he's paired with some of the artists I don't like as much, like Matt Wagner is a classic artist, but I really don't think he did as good a job on the one issue he did, and I'm not a fan of Tony Danro, really. He's very polished, he's just not to my taste. I don't think he's quite as effective, I don't get quite as excited, but I'm very excited about where Batman's going, because it is a single issue. I mean, we're not getting any fill-in writers except for Josh Williamson doing these crossovers, so there's a sense that Tom King has a plan, and I see how the plan is fitting together even if I don't know where it's going. So I'd say those are the two things. And then, of course, there's Batman and the Outsiders, but that's hard to be super excited about when it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah. I would have said Batman and the Outsiders because I'm actually looking forward to that too. It's just now at this point we have no idea when it's actually coming. And that's the problem.
But I would say those. It's unfortunately not as many titles, not as many upcoming things as I'd like, which is why I asked the question. But I'm still here. I'm still engaged. And I think that the fact that the main title of Batman is still just very engaging, even if you may not like it, it's making you think and it's making you feel. And I think that's what I want from a good story.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that happens with Detective Comics too. I mean, I know you have...
That would be nice.
I know you have issues with Tomasi, but I honestly, if we could get Detective and Batman both putting out good stuff, like when it was, when Tynion was on Detective Comics, I would love that. I mean, I love talking about comics that I am looking forward to reading. And I think it will happen with Tomasi. But, I mean, I feel like there's been there's always these ups and downs. You have some issues like War of Jokes and Riddles, and it's, I didn't really like that story arc. Really at all. I mean, I did not enjoy that story arc. And that just happened to be when Detective Comics, the stuff that was happening in Detective Comics was really good. And now it's, it's like vice versa. And, you had the Detective Comics with Brian Hill. That stuff was good, but then you had the horrible ending of Batman number 50 around that same time frame. I would just like to have two really good, engaging comics that we talk about here on the Comic Cast. That would be great.
I'm with you. I have my hesitation about Tomasi, as everyone who's listened for a while knows, but I want it to be good. It's not that I'm rooting for it to fail at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned when you told us this question, you also said, is there anything outside of comics that makes you interested as being a Bat fan? The one thing, it's not in the immediate 3-month future, but the one thing that I'm really, really looking forward to is whatever Matt Reeves is cooking up for the Batman movie. I really enjoyed Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes stuff, and I really want a good Batman film, and I feel like he could do something as good as Chris Nolan did, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I would really like to see some information coming out about that sooner rather than later. Obviously, that's not going to happen because at the earliest, it's not going to go in production until sometime next year, probably middle, summer, end of next year, depending. But I'm looking forward to that. Outside of that film, I'm cautiously hesitant about the upcoming Birds of Prey film. video game wise, merchandise, television, not a whole lot. Specifically Batman. I mean, like, I'm looking forward to Young Justice.
You're not excited about Gotham? It's around the corner. It's the last season. It's so
Yeah,
exciting.
I'm excited that it is the last season.
It's No Man's Land. It's going to be awesome.
No, it's not. Because you know what the problem is? This is going to ruin No Man's Land for me.
Oh, no. Don't watch it.
And unless they do a... Like, I would ultimately love for them to do a No Man's Land, animated film. Mm-hmm. And it feels like eventually they'll get to it because they're slowly getting to all of the major Batman story arcs from the, from the past. Mm-hmm. But I have this horrible feeling that, like, they're just going to, like, completely screw up. Like, you use the name because you're associating with that comic story, and the problem is that this show has a tendency to associate itself with things from the comics to say, hey, comic fans, look what we're doing. And then you watch it and you're like, what is this? I mean, they made such a big deal about how the Court of Owls was going to be such a relevant thing in whatever, that third season or whatever, and it was nothing. It was just a ploy to get people to watch. I don't want to talk about Gotham. I could rant about that show forever. All right. Anyway,
I'm excited about the Hush. I mean,
yeah, Batman Hush.
Batman Hush is coming out as a cartoon.
Yeah.
And the cartoons have been pretty good.
You mentioned Young Justice, and that reminded me. Yeah, I'm absolutely excited about Young Justice. Don't know how connected that's going to be to Batman. I mean, obviously Nightwing's going to be there, and we've got Robin and Spoiler, but we don't know how big their roles are going to be. But I'm excited because those first 2 seasons are just top tier good stuff. I'm also, surprisingly, maybe because I had such low expectations, but I'm looking forward to Titans every week, and we've got 2 live action Robins for the first time ever. We've only ever had 1 Robin in live action before, and having 2 of them is just so exciting to me. I
will admit I also have been looking forward to Titans. I think the early episodes skewed my thought, but I think as the season has gone on, it has gotten better, and I've been enjoying certain aspects of the show more.
I'm a little worried about it because it's so far all it's been, not that it's been bad at all, it's been good, but all it's been is team forming, and I wonder what's going to happen when they run out of people to meet and team members to join, and like what kind of show is it going to be after that.
It's true.
But it's been good.
But I don't think we're going to have to worry about that until second season. So.
Probably.
We got, I think, 3 more episodes left?
I don't know.
I think so. I think it's 3. But the last note I wanted to add was I like the fact that in the DC movies, Batman's been not just mentioned, but he's been a part of it. Like, he was in Suicide Squad, and you're seeing the Batarang in the Shazam trailer. So I like the fact that we're getting an actually connected cinematic universe with them without feeling like it needs to be all about Batman. I like the idea of Batman as just part of the world.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope that carries on even if they don't know the direction they're going to go with these films. I hope that at the very least Batman appears in some way during the Birds of Prey film, because let's be honest, if they're operating in Gotham and we don't hear anything about Batman the entire film, that would be very strange.
The movie's already going to be so strange.
That's true. Alright, so that is Monkey Watch this time around. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that discussion. If you have a suggestion of what you'd like us to talk about on the next episode for Monkey Watch, be sure to leave your suggestion in the comment section over on the site. With that being said, be sure to check out all the latest episodes of other podcasts we have to offer on the site. There's new episodes of Back with the Oracle, Robin Everyone Loves the Drake, Bat Fans, Bat Books for Beginners, all kinds of new stuff to check out. Be sure to check out all of those. Also, be sure to check out all the news and editorials related to movies, TV, merchandise, video games, and, of course, the comics. There's tons of stuff that is posting all the time. I mean, there was points that there was new articles posting, 1 article every, hour for like 8 hours throughout the day because there's just so much content, whether it be reviews or news pieces. There's all kinds of stuff. So be sure to check out the stuff over on the site. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for all these news and videos from the Batman universe. And then you can leave us reviews on iTunes. Those are always greatly appreciated. Support us on Patreon or show your support in any other way. We have merchandise that you can purchase, including a limited edition I Just Want Tomasi t-shirt. That will be available for literally, as you're listening to this, it will be available for just about a little less than a week. And then we're going to take that shirt down because Tomasi will actually have arrived. That was a comment that Tony had in his Detective Comics review from a couple weeks back that I thought this would make a cool shirt, and we put it in there. So if you're so inclined to purchase that because you also want Tomasi, then by all means that you can purchase that. Outside of that, you can also join our Discord. That's honestly the best place to get in touch with us. There's a link over on the site in the sidebar. Go directly there. You just read the rules, and then you enter in, and you'll be able to talk with other staff. You'll be able to interact with us. You'll be able to interact with other staff from the site, a lot of the guys and gals who write reviews on the site. You'll also be able to chat with other Bat fans who come over to talk about different things related to the books and things like that. So be sure to join the Discord. There's conversations going on all the time. Sometimes conversations, very in-depth conversations about a variety of different topics. So be sure to check out our Discord as well. So with that is everything for this episode. This is Dustin.
This is Steph.
And this is Ian.
You've been listening to the Batman Universe Comic Podcast. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.